Thanks guys, Blake Boserman here, and all of us at Sneak Peek were sad to hear of the passing of Stephen Hillenburg earlier this week. As the creator of the hit Nickelodeon cartoon SpongeBob SquarePants, Hillenburg was a vital component of the childhoods of an entire generation of kids. Ever since its debut on May 1st, 1999, we've seen SpongeBob and his friends go on hundreds of adventures in their home at Bikini Bottom. So today, in honor of Hillenburg, I'd like to share with you the 3 that I enjoyed the most. At number 3, we have Season 2, Episode 16A, Graveyard Shift. In this episode, SpongeBob and Squidward are forced to endure a horrific evening at the Krusty Krab while working the night shift. And in addition to it being a surprisingly creepy episode at times, it's also absolutely hilarious. From Squidward's improvised story of the hash-slinging slasher to SpongeBob's absolute joy at doing his job at night, this is a fast-paced episode from start to finish. It has also been my single favorite visual gag of the entire show, with the abrupt appearance of F.W. Murnau's villain Count Orlok from the 1922 horror film Nosferatu being the perfect cap for the episode. As Tom Kenny, the voice of SpongeBob, has said before, any show that can introduce kids to a German expressionist horror villain from 80 years ago is really something special. Now next up we have Season 3, Episode 16A, Chocolate with Nuts. Here we have SpongeBob and Patrick trying to make a name for themselves by selling chocolate bars. And while their antics are funny enough on their own, it's actually the minor characters that stand out in this episode. While the running gag of the fish named Tom shouting chocolate always gets a laugh, it's almost impossible to top the old lady yelling, "What? What are they selling? Chocolate? I remember when they first invented chocolate." This is one of those episodes that shows what makes the show so great. Just like The Simpsons before it, SpongeBob was never afraid to give side characters their moment in the spotlight. And speaking of which, we have to move on to number 1, which is in my opinion the best SpongeBob episode of all time. Band Geeks. Season 2, Episode 14B, absolute classic, and it follows Squidward's attempts to assemble a band for a huge halftime show in just a couple days. This was actually one of the first episodes to follow somebody other than SpongeBob the entire time, and seeing Squidward's gradual climb to victory is really a sight to behold. The episode caps off with the band performing 80s rocker David Glenn Isley's Sweet Victory, and it really is one of the most triumphant moments of the show. Plus, when you consider the episode gave birth to my single favorite joke in the entire series, which is Patrick saying, "Is mayonnaise an instrument?" This one definitely tops my list as the best episode in the show's history. Well, there you have it, everybody. Even though Stephen Hillenburg may have passed on, his comedic genius was one of the key factors in getting me interested in comedy. And there are millions of kids all over the world who can say the exact same thing. He changed the animation world, there's no doubt about that. And I'm certain that for generations to come, fans will think of him, the world he created under the sea, and that little yellow sponge that taught us to make the most out of life. That's all from me. Now back to the host.
SpongeBob is such a classic. What college student didn't grow up with the songs and the jokes and most recently, those iconic memes?
We're going to toss it to commercial, but when we come back, a preview of the movie Dumplin' and a review of the new Netflix series, The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina.